Okay, this is segment 2 of the history of Planet X. In this segment, I'm going to discuss the makeup of Planet X, its composition, its entourage of moons. But the first thing I want to mention is that Planet X is not a planet. It's a dwarf star. It's extremely heavy, and I have some size comparisons coming up. And at the end of the video, I have a little surprise for everybody. It'll be first on YouTube as far as I'm concerned, and so just wait to the end. Planet X orbits between our sun's binary twin and our sun in this manner, like that, and it makes a lot of sense, like a swing. So when you see the size comparisons, I help you understand why Planet X endures such an orbit, and why such an orbit was established. When you realize it's not a planet, and its size and weight ratio. So, because if a planet was to enter our solar system, I'm quite sure a long time ago, millennia ago, it would have been absorbed by a gas giant, Jupiter or Neptune, or broken up in some way. But just wait and see. So it passes by, as we know, our Earth, and it causes a magnetic lock-on, and the differential of the magnetic lock between the Earth's core and the crust is what separates the crust from the core. The core moves first, and the crust moves after. So, and the crust ends apparently by Zeta talk, it ends in a 90-degree tilt this time. So, anyways, so once PX clears the ecliptic, it'll speed up and zoom out, and it gets the momentum going. That's why it zooms out into space like that, out this extension here. So that's the orbit, and I just wanted to explain that a little bit. Okay, so now let's go to a physical size comparison. Here we have Earth and Planet X. Now, Zeta talk tells us that Planet X is 4 times the diameter of Earth. So this is what the corpus of Planet X, which is only part of this system. This is the size comparison. Now, I use Zeta talk as a basis. I don't know who we're going to use, those people who, like NASA, who lie to us, or I'm not saying Zeta talk is perfect. It's a great work, and it's head and shoulders way beyond. It's the best source on the internet for this kind of information. So I use Zeta talk, and I'm happy to do so. So this is a size comparison, a physical size comparison. But the fact that Planet X is really a cooled star it means, according to Zeta talk, the actual mass differential is 23 times the mass of Earth. Now take a look at this. If we took Planet X and expanded it out to its mass differential to Earth, this is what it would look like. So as you can see, it's massive. It's very, very heavy, 23 times that of Earth. So now this is a drawing taken from the Cauldron. You can see the stray moons here, and this is the corpus of Planet X, and these are the 2 moon swirl tails. And in these tails, these horns, which is why the Chinese have named Planet X the Red Dragon. Red because of the red glowing, because after all it is a dwarf star. It's not cold, it's warm, so it does glow, and but there's a lot of iron oxide, and we'll discuss that in a bit. So, but in these tails, this is where the moons orbit each other in a swirling motion like that. So this is taken from the Colburn. So this drawing would have been done up now. Probably the size would be more like, it's more like that. So that was drawn. When was that drawn? In ancient Egypt. So this was a photograph, or somehow it was a representation of the original drawing from the Colburn itself. The Colburn is the it's considered to be the Egyptian Bible, but it's a little bit of a misnomer. But it's also known as a Colburn Bible. But at any rate, it has a wonderful set of sayings. I took a few out of them. Here's one that says, this is from the Colburn: when blood drops upon the earth, that is the iron oxide red dust mixing with water and turning the rivers red and the rain red. From now, that's in the tail of Planet X, and we have apparently begin to have had that happen already, because the tail of Planet X wafts about, according to the charges and the cosmic wind and all the various forces that they're changing. So it wafts about like the tail of a tail of a dragon. The destroyer will appear. That's another name for Planet X. And the mountains will open up and belch forth fire and ashes. That's the volcanoes, and that would be caused by the intense shifting of the continental fault lines due to the intense pressure of the nearby Planet X. Excuse me. The trees will be destroyed and all living things engulfed. Waters will be swallowed up by the land, which those are the pole shift waves, because when the crust stops moving, it will the sea keeps going and washes over the land, which is why we have to have safe locations. At least those of us live on islands or live near the sea. And the seas will boil. Now this is caused by the subduction of the continental plates, and the coastal areas where the subduction is taking place. Apparently the rocks will melt, or any very very low valleys the ground can get warm too, if you're near. I don't know how far you need to be away, but I would imagine you need to be pretty central in a continent to avoid that, not to have to worry about that. But that's why the seas boil, because of the intense heat created by the friction of the subduction of the continental plates against each other. We're already seeing people scattering in madness, but I think this really talks about the denial of people. Nobody really wants to hear that their lives are about to change dramatically, and so when it happens, people just can't handle it. Which is why we do this work now, is to bring the awareness to people so they can get ready ahead of time. And now here it says, they will hear the trumpet and battle cry of the destroyer. Now the trumpeting, the battle cry, is obviously colorful language. But what it is two basic sources from my understanding. One is the stratospheric lightning that will occur during the pole shift between Earth's upper atmosphere and the tail of Planet X. And it's a plasmic lightning. It's not lightning that we see from the clouds to the Earth. It's plasmic. I can show you those. Actually, that's in the main body of the next segment. So the other source of the trumpeting of the noise of Planet X it comes from Earth itself. We hear that now. If you Google strange sounds on YouTube, search YouTube for that, you'll discover many sound recordings of strange crying and groaning, and that's the deep fissures in Earth's crust that are moving slowly and vibrating and creating a vibration. When the vibration itself reaches the surface of the Earth, now this is Zeta. I'll get this from Zeta Talk. It makes sense. The vibration, if it was to reach a dam face, then the dam will vibrate and become like a speaker. And apparently, even a lake surface can become a speaker for this vibrational for this sound to be heard. Yeah, okay, so there's other physics involved as to why it does that, but it won't go there. So that's some of the things that were reported in the Colburn Bible. So here we have genuine catches, visible light of Planet X. Now what's interesting about these is you see the black space behind the corpus of Planet X. Now this is because this was in 2003. This particular one is because the Planet X was a long ways from the sun, so its view, so this is 2003, so it's out here, so it's not near the sun, so we're looking out into deep space as a backdrop. That's why you have the color black behind this. Now, that image was taken by an amateur astrologer in North Carolina in his backyard of an incoming Planet X, and that was this is April, early in the year, so 2003. Now this other one has a black background too, but it's taken from it was caught. This is off Polschrifting, I must say, or either that off the off of Zeta Talk site. But so this is taken from a satellite, so of course it's going to have a different view to Planet X, which is why it has the black space as well, because we're saying 2009 here, right? So in 2009, Planet X was in the eclipse where it is now. So why would there not be the sun be the background? It's because it was the shot was taken from a different viewpoint, from a stereo head camera hanging out in space. So now we have some other. Now I took this yesterday. Today's the 28th. I got this off of the SOHO website, one of NASA's websites, and these images are taken by the LASCO camera on board the SOHO spacecraft that is poised about 1 million miles from Earth, looking at the sun. This disk here is what is called an occulting disk, and it basically covers up the sun, which this mark here, this circle here, indicates the size of the sun. But the entire process here is to hide the glare of the sun, so you can get a picture of the surrounding area around the sun. The distance between one edge of the image and the other is 2.5 million miles between there. And here you have Planet X right there. Now images like this are easy to find on LASCO. You just have to go through about 20 or so. You can see bits and pieces of them, but sometimes you get a good one like this. Now I'm going to zoom in a bit more, and maybe even a bit more. And I'm going to, okay, so here you can see the corpus of Planet X. Now that lateral line is to do with see, there's software or camera optics. I'm not sure, but it doesn't have a straight line on it. But you can see the moon trails here very clearly. So these trails whip around. So if you see another in this series of images, you'd see this tail in a different place. So this tail is wafting, moving like a snake, or the tail of a dragon. So that is Planet X right there. Anyways, so this is a drawing I made up to indicate the swirling moon trails that come off in two horns like that. Now, what's not really shown here is the massive tail of dust around it, and that's the big tail of dust that you can actually see it over here better. Well, this is more trash, actually, rock pieces of planets. Now, I'm going to briefly touch on that. When Planet X passed through our solar system I don't know how many billions of years ago, but it created this is the asteroid belt. So these are all broken planets, and I don't know, there's 3 or 4 of them or something like that at the time. But the big collision with the moons of Planet X, and that's why Planet X has this trash tail. So now we've seen Planet X here. It's right there, plain as day. Now I want to move to this view of Google Sky. Now this Google Sky had been hiding this image right here of Planet X for I don't know how long. But Google Sky basically is made up of probably thousands, if not millions, of photos of the night sky, and it's combined into one image. And so when you log into Google Sky, you're just looking at images that were glued together. And as I may not have mentioned, it was done sometime in '98. So here's an incoming Planet X. So apparently the cover-up decided to release the cover-up on this picture. Which is why about a year or so ago, the appearance of Planet X on Google Sky was a big deal. I wrote up a very intense and very detailed article in my Planet X newsletter, I believe, issue 3, and I cover it in great detail. It was a lot of work because I had to untangle a lot of confusing factors, but I think it turned out very well. So here we have an actual visual light. If you were out in space, you look at it, this is what it looked like. So you notice, by the way, that you can see the tail and the two horns in a very nice configuration. And now this is 1998. This is Planet X way out in interstellar space, probably just starting to pick up speed on its incoming, just picking up speed. So the tail's of a nice shape. They got this nice horn shape. Now that I must remember to show you a piece I did right here. Now I must remember that. So what I wanted to talk about, oh yes, now when you look at an incoming, this is 2003. Now by this time Planet X is going screamingly fast, very, very fast, incoming, very close to the sun. So you notice there's no tails, no horns. That's because of its speed. It's zooming in, and the cosmic wind is blowing back the trash into behind it. So that's an indication of speed, you see. Now I made this up, this piece here. You can see here's a Google Sky image, and it's an authentic image of Planet X. Now I turned it on its side from Google Sky to compare to this sighting here. Now this is the big surprise. About 2011, I had one of our members at Surviving the Pole Shift Facebook group send this in private chat to me, this link to a video which I'm about to show you, which I've isolated into a short segment, saying he thought this was Planet X. So let's take a look at the video. I made this up just last night. So here you can see, oh, let me set you up on this here. Okay, so what this is live video feed, Chinese, of the Shenzhou 8 spacecraft. And this is just a segment of it. I'll start it again. So the camera is panning. This is the Earth, and it's panning towards, well, this direction. And look what we see here. What's that look like to you? Right there. What does that look like? Oh, that looks like Planet X, doesn't it? It's Planet X. That was awesome. That's an awesome catch of Planet X. Visual light. This is not ultraviolet. This is visual light catch of Planet X, sitting right there. And that's why I took the Google Sky image. That's been confirmed by the Zetas. So this is a first. I don't think anyone knows this, but this is a first. That is a catch of Planet X right there. So that's what it looks like. So I believe I've covered the most of the weight, the trash tail, the iron oxide dust trail. It's the trail itself is 5 million miles long. It has 2 horns, 2 moon swirls that come out to either side like that. You can see the moon swirling in there like that. By the way, since we're talking about this, I will mention this too. Let me get a better image. This is one of my drawings here. Well, let's just do this one here. Okay, so when the moons, apparently is about 30 or 40 moons, large moons that orbit around each other in these 2 tails. So you can imagine they're orbiting around each other like that on both sides. So what happens is occasionally, because they're orbiting in circles around each other, they can create a tube, a light reflecting tube, down the center of the swirl. So because the tails themselves waft about, and because we'll use this as a sun, it's a star in this picture, but we use this as a sun. When it happens that the tail or the tube lines up with some sunlight, they can go down it. Now this is a zeta top expression. You can get light reflecting down that tube and ending up as a light object near the sun in odd places. And this is why we find, let me get a, we're going to have to go back to this image. Let's assume this is the sun, and I've said that Planet X always appears in the northern hemisphere from the 3 o'clock position down to about the 6 o'clock position. And I believe I've explained why that is in another video. But so if you see in the northern hemisphere a real light object, you prove it to be, you do your research, it's a real light object and not a lens flare, out up here or over here. Remember, we're talking about the northern hemisphere here, or over here or down here. Recently there was a sighting, a great sighting of a light object near the sun in this position down here. Well, it cannot be Planet X. It's a moon swirl light tube reflection. That's a Zeta-Talk expression. So that's why you find real light objects appearing in different odd places around the sun. It's the what I just said. So and usually Planet X appears very close in, almost touching the glare like that, because of the way it's locked into its position. So if you see an object out here, this far out, it's probably a moon swirl light tube, or it's a lens flare. So I think that pretty much covers the main construction of Planet X, and so that ends this segment. So now the next segment will be the main body, which will be the history of Planet X, which is going to be as varied as I can make it, but keep in mind that the history of Planet X is such a very large, it's touched on so many cultures in so many ways. There's no way that I can cover it thoroughly. So I'm going to do my very best in my next video to explain the history of Planet X.